What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Kinda Funny Xcast, your home for all things Xbox here at Kinda Funny. Of course, I'm one of your hosts, SnowBikeMike, and we got a jam-packed episode for you. So I'm going to hit housekeeping right away, and then I'll introduce you to some special guests that we have on the show. So this is the Xcast. We post each and every Saturday at 6 a.m. West Coast, Best Coast time on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and on podcast services around the globe. If you missed out on all of our extensive coverage through the week of E3, you can go check out all the awesome VOD content at youtube.com/kindafunnygames. Drop a sub, drop a like, leave a comment on one of your favorite E3 games or reveals that you really enjoyed throughout the week. We are thanking our friends over at Patreon for all of the Patreon producers and supporters over there. Donovan Harkness, Omega 3, Tyler Ross, Delaney Twinning, Julian the Gluten-Free Gamer, James Hastings, Casey Andrews, and Elliot. Of course, this episode of the Kinda Funny Xcast is sponsored by Fitbit, Honey, and Canva, but I'll tell you all about that later. Let's jump right into the show. Of course, my incredible co-host, the host of the Xbox Games Extended Showcase, the man of the hour, Mr. Parris Lilly. What's going on, Parris? How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, and I heard what you and Blessing said on Kinda Funny Daily yesterday, and I really appreciate the kind words, but I had a blast hosting the Game Showcase Extended. It was a lot of fun being able to do that and being a part of that process, and I know we have a couple special guests here, so I'm back on Xcast. I kind of went on hiatus there a little bit, but brought a couple people with me, but thank you for the kind words.
No doubt, Parris. It's great to have you back, and guess what? This episode is all about you and games. And why not talk about games with two incredible dudes that love to talk about games? So everybody, let me introduce you to our special guests from Team Xbox and Bethesda. They're going by the Uncle Pete and Greeny show. It's on the road here with us at the Kinda Funny Xcast. We have Xbox's GM of Games Marketing and mini fridge expert Aaron Greenberg in the building. And alongside him is Bethesda's SVP of Global Marketing and Communications. I've been told he is the keeper of all things and secrets over at Bethesda, Pete Hines. What's going on, guys? How are you both doing today?
Hey.
It's great to be here. To be clear, our world tour has 2 stops, and this is the second one, and that's it. So
it's more like a line. It's more like a straight line than a tour. 2 points, starting and end, but we'll take it.
In all seriousness, I could not pick a better way to end the week hanging out with the Kinda Funny guys. We're big fans. Listen to your show on the regular, so thanks for all you do for the gaming community at large.
Thanks so much, you two. And of course, right back at you. Thank you for everything you guys do for the gaming community. And we're happy to have you for the final stop of this awesome show tour. But we got to take a moment before I get into the questions and the chatting about games. We got to celebrate for a minute. What a week it's been for all three of you and everyone in the gaming community. I mean, 2 different showcases, a record-breaking E3 for the two of you, and you guys came together. Parris Lilly got to host the showcase. How's everybody feeling after such an incredible week? We got to celebrate the moment. So, Aaron, I'll kick it to you first. How are you feeling right now, looking back on that?
It's been good. It always feels weird for us because while we're the faces in many cases for the brands, there's just thousands and thousands of people around the world that have helped make this happen. We've been working at this for 8 months. You guys know putting on shows and making games is hard, especially now, given that, no studio's open, no one's in the office. Like, everyone's just put in extra effort this year. So, but it feels good. I saw, Greg gave us an S rating, which I didn't even know that was possible. So, it feels good. We always strive. If we have a good year, we know the internet's tough graders, so we're hopeful maybe we'll get a B, but seeing all the A grades is just great. It makes the team feel really good, and it felt like a year where in some ways just doing a digital led show, we had a little more control on what we wanted to do, and got to shape it. And I'd say, frankly, being able to do this with Pete and his team made it really, really extra special. And so for me, we always try to build better every year, but this year was definitely one that was truly special because of what we created in partnership with the team at Bethesda.
Very cool. Pete, how are you feeling after you look back on the week with you and your team?
Relieved, pleased, tired, some amalgamation of all of those things. I mean, as Greeny covered, the hey, this was Whether or not we wanted to admit it to ourselves in the process or not, this was a pretty tall order to bring two organizations that clearly knew each other, had worked a lot together, but there's working together and then there's pulling off a showcase like this together. Those are wildly disparate things, and as Greeny said, the number of people on both sides, Xbox and Bethesda, that had to come together real quick and learn how to work together well and collaborate and not step on each other's toes or yell at each other, and to be able to do all of that in the right way is honestly what I'm most proud of and pleased with, because as Greeny said, it's tough to do when you're in person, right? When you can gather in the same room where you can have those conversations. But when Greeny is separate from everybody on his team as they're putting it together, and so am I, and so are all of our devs, it was a really difficult thing to do, and I was pleased how we came together to pull it off.
Great stuff, both of you. Congratulations to you and your team. Now, Parris, you get to be a third part of this, right? You get to be involved in this. You get to see the ways, kind of behind the scenes, a big Herculean effort from all of everybody involved. So how are you feeling after the week?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good. And again, thank you to Xbox for allowing me to be a part of this process of everything that they did this week. And it was funny. I'll just say with Pete, I did see him one time, right? And I had my mask on, and I saw him. I go, "That's Pete Hines. He has no idea who I am with a mask on." So
he had a mask on,
did.
and I kept thinking, I think that's Parris, but he has a mask on. It. You were standing in line for food, right?
Yeah, I was in line for food.
I swear that's Parris, but he's got a mask on, and I can't be sure in these damn mask times. I don't know who anybody is.
That was funny. But the reason I bring that up is when I think back on what I got to see Sunday, just as a viewer, and I love how you opened with Starfield, you ended it with Redfall. And then, Pete, you came out during the middle and you addressed, Fallout 76 and Elder Scrolls Online, which I will circle back to, by the way. But then you had all the other bits of Xbox mixed in between, and it just felt right. Like it didn't feel off, like you're force feeding Bethesda to be a part of an Xbox event. It did feel like one big family. And I kind of talked about this yesterday when someone asked me what I thought. Was this the best event Xbox ever did? And I thought about it and I phrased it this way. I think this is the most mature Xbox has been, where I feel like you've reached a point where you showed a roadmap of games that you have coming here in the next 18 to 24 months. You've shown off services, obviously, like Game Pass. We're seeing how you're leveraging the cloud. You've opened it up now to where console, PC, cloud, that's the platform. Play games where you want. Just everything has seemingly like come together, and you really saw that in this event this Sunday. And then, by the way, the one I hosted later. But you really saw that, and as a gamer, because and Pete, I know you've had conversations on other shows, and we don't even need to get into that. But it's not about competitions or anything. It's about being a gamer and having fun, and I see what Xbox is doing in that regard, and they're trying to bring the games to you where you want to play them, so you can play with your friends on multiple platforms. And that's the whole point, in my opinion, right? And that's what I saw this weekend, and I just think people should be excited about it. I really do.
Okay, good show, everybody.
Yeah, that's it, bro.
See you on.
We're good. If you can just tell our bosses, if you just record that, we'll send it to them. That'd be good. We're back for another year, Pete. We've got jobs for another year. It's great. No, you hit it, but the details matter. And I think that one of the great things of working with Pete and the team this year is, we really obsess about the gamer and the audience and who this is for. And you can imagine in a large organization and a lot of different products and things, getting to a show where what opened, what closed, what was in the middle, the lack of talking and the focus on showing what was gameplay, like every single one of those details is what we've obsessed with as a team over the last 8 months. And so it is in many ways for us on the marketing and PR side, almost like the biggest product we ship all year. And so we don't get to create the games, but this is something we actually can create by bringing, all the collective efforts across the team. And this year felt like one of those just no regrets. There was nothing that, we didn't get in. There was nothing that was in an order that we didn't like. We literally everything landed the way we hoped. And then of course you put it out there and like none of us really sleep the night before. And I just hope that like people love this, because it's a huge responsibility we have of like every dev team and every artist and every person around the world, that we have to represent their work and what they've spent years working on and try to do them right. And so it does feel good when it feels like we're able to do that. And I'm not just saying because Pete's here, but like having Pete sit on our first party reviews and giving feedback on the Outer Worlds 2 trailer or the Halo pieces, like that was rad. I mean, I admire Pete's work and the great work they've done over the years, and having his feedback on that stuff made us better too.
Well, let me follow up on something, because, and this kind of circles back to something that you gentlemen talked about at the very beginning, not being in the office, and I actually want to point this more towards Pete to get his perspective, because I've not really heard the Bethesda perspective on this. But like when you guys did the roundtable, which I called by the way, but when you did the roundtable and got together, I know you talked about that was the first time being back in the office at Bethesda. You hadn't seen seen people in person in that amount of time due to the pandemic. But overall with Bethesda, just all the various studios that you're working with on a daily basis, can you kind of talk about the effects of the pandemic and remote work, and how that has just changed the way that you guys are making games now? Because it can't be easy. I know we've talked about it a lot, but I really would love to hear the perspective from someone that is dealing with this on a daily basis. How impactful has this been to your game development?
I mean, it's affected everything. It's affected everything to varying degrees, but I'd be interested in Greeny's take, since of all the studios, the other studios at Xbox. Now I have to remember to say other studios. But if you look at Bethesda, I would say there isn't a game whose development hasn't been impacted significantly. And what percentage that is, honestly, doesn't matter. Like it's significant. And that is really all it takes, Parris, is to not only have everybody in the office working as we're all used to. One of the things at Bethesda that we're proud of is we've got a pretty low turnover rate. We're in Rockville, Maryland. It's not like everybody else in the industry is right across the interstate from us and people hop around, like they will out in California, where there's a lot of studios. We hold on to people and have folks there for a long time. I'm coming up on 22 years. Aaron Losey, who's my right-hand person, and by the way, who did unbelievable amounts of work getting all of our stuff together, along with so many folks on my team, has been there for almost 16 years. There's a lot of folks who have been there a long time, and none of us have ever worked not in the same place together ever until now. And we went from none of it to all of it with nothing in between. And so it's not just we can't get in a room and sort of hash something out, right? The number of times where normally I would get up out of my desk and just go walk over to somebody and say, hey, let's have a quick conversation about this. Or let me grab these two people. We're just going to come stand around your desk and let's just see where everybody's at. And it takes 5 minutes and we're done. And now it's like, I got to text 3 different people and, hey, what's your schedule? Like it's a nightmare. Stuff goes so much slower. And there's things, quite honestly, that just can go so much faster when you're all in the same room together, looking at something or talking around something. That makes a huge difference. And then you look at all the technical challenges on top of that. And honestly, I think all of that is what Greeny and I are trying to highlight, because at the end of the day, as Greeny said, we're representing what all of our teams are making. It's not like Greeny and I are back here coding or 3D modeling or anything else, right? It's our job to take the best of what our teams are making and try and show it in the best way possible, in a way that team would say, that's how I want you to talk about the thing that I have been spending months or years of my life working on and creating. And when that process is going slower, the place you feel it the most is exactly in an event like this, because at the end of the day, the content determines entirely whether a game is ready to show or not, right? Doesn't matter where I'm like, hey, let's show 30 minutes of Starfield this year. The game will tell you whether or not it's ready to show off all of these elements or not. And so when you look at people who aren't working as fast as they're used to, who are all also working remotely, that all have to come together for a moment like this. And it's not just one team, right? Like it's a pretty big throw if the Halo team has to do that. But when the Halo team and the Forza team and the Starfield team, you know what I mean? You start lining up all of these teams who have to pull together to make and polish this stuff that you want to focus on in, you know, a video or a gameplay demo or whatever it is. It is so much work in the most difficult circumstances. And honestly, you know, when I say proud, like that's what I'm the most proud of, is that not only did we do, it's not up to me to decide, whatever number best Xbox Bethesda show this was, like we had to do something in a way in the most difficult circumstances possible, which is completely separate from each other, completely spread apart. You know, I mentioned yesterday when Greeny and I did the Twitter Spaces thing, like Todd Howard and I have worked together for 22 years. I'm used to walking into that man's office, like, I mean, whenever he's not in meetings, which is almost all the time, but like I can just stop by and say hi or check with him or say, hey, you know, how's the trailer coming? When's the next cut? And we talk about what's going on. I can't do any of that now. And to spend 20 plus years doing that and then suddenly not be able to do it at all, it's just really difficult to explain to somebody what that's like, and trying to execute something to a very high level, which, as Greeny said, is, you know, ultimately our goal.
Yeah, I think just to build on that, I do think some of the stuff people don't realize is Phil and I flew out for the roundtable, which you did call Parris. Often you have a good sense of when you often, I love Parris is often the one of those people that is like trying to make sense of what might be happening and why it's happening. And while I can't often say he's right, I'll say right now, you're very often right. You have very good.
Well, and can we just pause here for a quick Parris love fest real quick and just highlight, look, folks, this is all it takes to get a pulse of the industry. Just use a finger and not your elbow. So many people try and elbow their way into like, let me get the pulse. Like, dude, you're stopping the pulse. Parris is really good at sort of being like, instead of being like sensational, like, how about if we just do this and be like, what would be reasonable? Like, you know, it would be reasonable for a group of folks to get together and chat. Like, oh yeah, reason, right? That's why Parris, one of many reasons why Parris is so good. Sorry,
no, it was fun. No. I will. Let me pivot to the Parris. We could do that. I love that. I watched. So one of the things people don't know is that we actually, you know, Phil and I traveled out for the roundtable. Doing the in-person stuff matters a lot. And Pete's right. We've worked with Bethesda over many years, you know, and we actually came up with that line. And we started as friends, and now we're family, because it truly does feel like family. I mean, we sit down with Todd Howard, or we sit down with Todd Vaughn, or we sit down with other folks there, Aaron Losey and team, and the same on our side with Sarah Bond and Matt Booty and Phil Spencer and everybody. It feels like that, you know, and you don't get that feeling among teams and partner teams always that we work with, and to have that is really special. We actually wanted to recreate a set. We wanted to have that kind of, you know, feeling of like a big E3 kind of moment. And so what people don't know is, if you've ever been to PAX West, we actually took over that convention center. Yeah. And so we basically built it. By the way, no one's doing conventions right now, so we got access to it. And so in one of those giant halls that you'd usually be at, like at PAX West, we built this giant stage. And so I spent over a week there on the set, you know, every little details you can imagine. But I got to see Parris in action, and I just was sitting there having this feeling of like, the world is about to now, after this, discover just what a natural you are, Parris, and how hard that stuff is. And I loved by the way, the Khalif stuff is just amazing, and I could retweet that all day. And it was, I loved how smooth you landed that. But I also loved what he said about you and just the throwing and knowing the games and authenticity that, like, frankly, none of us can do. Like, you were perfect in that regards, because this is not for us. This is, again, for somebody who is a member of the community and a gamer who knows the games, to sit down and have a conversation. And so you were really absolutely perfect at that. And I just want to say thank you for doing that. You know, and giving a platform for people to do that, I think does mean a lot. And it's one of the highlights for us, is when we can do those types of things and see it manifest the way that it did, with such positive feedback. And hopefully now the rest of the world knows just how great you are.
I appreciate the kind words, and Mike, please jump in with a question, because I don't want this to be the Parris thing. I want to know about Xbox and Bethesda. That's what I want to know about. You know what? Let me say this really quick.
There you go. Go for it, Parris.
So, like Pete, like I said, in the middle of the presentation, you talked about Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 76, and I'm in this weird spot with Fallout 76 right now because I didn't start playing until recently, and I'm in this place where I don't know if I should be on PC. I don't know if I should play it on console. I just want to be where the majority of the community is, and all the awesome content that you displayed that's coming. Is there any chance that Fallout 76 is going to get some kind of cross play or cross progression?
I have no idea, Paris. It's one of those things. I will give you the best that I know, since I am not a programmer. Nobody, if it's up to me to do it, then it's never happening because I can't code to save my life. But the way that I understand it or explained it to me was, look, the way that we're building this thing, there's a point at which we got to know, yes or no, are we building towards that? And if not, that's okay. And so we passed that well before development. What that would mean now to do, I haven't the foggiest idea or notion.
And that's fair.
And
that's fair.
I'll ask, but it's just one of those things. Like there's a lot going on, and I'm sure that the tech lift for that is some amount of difficult. It's probably just not flipping a switch or a day's worth of work. But we'll see. It's one of those things. At the very least, Paris, that a place like Xbox certainly embraces crossplay. I mean, Phil has been very out front in saying we should let everybody play together and so forth, and so there's certainly no roadblocks there. It's just more of that team looking at all of the things that have to be done, including PS, and by the way, an awful lot of content we need to keep adding and bringing to the game. Players ask for a lot of things. There's a lot of stuff in the works, and where does crossplay fall on the list alongside all of that? I honestly don't know.
Fair enough. And I'm sorry, Mike, I'll just jump into something else really quick because I know we're getting limited on time. So along those lines, and shout out to Tim Gettys because he's the one that tweeted this, and I saw you comment on it, Pete. But Arcane Studio, and when I talk about Arcane, I'm just thinking Prey and Dishonored, and obviously Redfall's about to come up, Deathloop as examples. What has been the impact of Game Pass on all these Bethesda games now being there? I don't know if you're seeing on the back end. Are you seeing a lot more engagement with some of these games that people may have missed the first time around? Like, I'm a huge Wolfenstein fan. That was literally the first thing I jumped back into when they went on Game Pass. But I'm just curious, is that something that you're seeing that gives you maybe a sense of pride that people are discovering these games?
Absolutely. And Paris, it's across the board. It doesn't matter what IP it is. I mean, Doom Eternal is not that long ago, but even there you can see big lifts. ESO and 76 games like that get huge bumps from people in Game Pass. But yeah, to your point, Paris, there is look, we've all been in this industry either as consumers or on the other side of the fence to know that there's a lot of games out there. Like, I don't know if anybody's paying attention, but there's a lot of video games that you have the option to play. Every time I do pull up Game Pass, I am staggered by the amount of stuff that's in there to play. And there's no question that when we put the 20 titles in there after the deal closed, or when the deal closed, that games like Prey suddenly blew up, and certainly I made no I was not quiet about the fact that Prey is criminally underrated and deserved a better audience and a better reception than it got for how good the game is. And it was awesome to see how many people said, I just started playing this in Game Pass and can't stop playing it, or can't believe how good it is. And that goes right to your question, which is, a lot of people are finding it who, for whatever reason, like, I was playing something else, or I was saving up my money for something else I really wanted. All of which, like, hey, I get it. Limited time, limited resources. But it's been great to see the discoverability. And, that's one end of the spectrum. You also can look at things like Grounded, which is a title that Obsidian said, hey, we want to do this quirky little other thing over here with a smaller team, but do this kind of game. And, Greeny can talk to you about the numbers that I've heard and seen on Grounded are amazing. And I got to be honest, I don't think if that game follows a traditional model and a traditional rollout that it does the same. Now, I could be totally wrong, but I think taking a game like that and offering it to a Game Pass audience, they have consumed the hell out of that in huge numbers because of that ability to find new stuff and have it bubble up to the top. It's been great for engagement. It's been great for finding new audience. And it's been great to see folks don't just try it and bail. Parris, a lot of people played Prey, are finishing Prey because they have a chance to see something that just was not on their radar for whatever reason. Let's just say that I didn't do my job well enough. I'll be the bad guy on Prey. So, given that that's the case, to see so many people play a thing is honestly, it's heartwarming and wonderful to see, because we want people to appreciate and play the stuff that our devs and we, put so much love and effort into.
Yeah, and that's what I love too, is because like when the spring we added all those titles in, added Prey, we had this huge influx of new people playing Prey. A lot of those people, Arcane may have not been on their radar. And then now they're like, okay, the guys that created this, the Arcane Austin team now is bringing us Redfall. What a perfect kind of one more thing. So we actually, the design with Game Pass obviously was intentional to both benefit game developers and benefit consumers, but that's just another example of that. And I know, Phil's talked about this too, but like we want the creators and the teams of Bethesda with their next games to reach the largest audiences they've ever reached. Mm-hmm. And that's our aspiration, and we want to enable them to do that on console, on PC, and Game Pass as a platform and a service is a big part of that. And I know you get that, Parris, and so it's exciting to be working with them on some really big titles coming next year. Day one to Game Pass, in case you weren't paying attention.
Definitely paying attention. I know we're about to run out of time here, and I feel like I've absolutely hogged this conversation. So, Mike, please, if there's any last thing you wanted to get in before we get out of here.
Parris, you're incredible. And this episode is all about you and the team celebrating. So I loved all the questions you asked these two, and I was happy to be along for the ride. I'll keep my questions short, and I have one special question right at the end for Mr. Greenberg. But going over with you two, you guys get to look at the content roadmap. You guys are the ones telling us about the game and getting excited with all of us out in the community. What games are you guys looking forward to the most to playing? I'll start with you, Pete, as we reconnect Aaron.
Do I have to pick one?
No, you pick whatever you like. I heard you want to get better at Forza, at maybe Halo, so I'm sure there's some games.
I think Forza I'm just going to continue to stink at, but maybe I'll just stink while driving around with some people. There's currently a small grassroots campaign to get me better at Halo, so maybe we'll see where the Halo multiplayer campaign goes to. Honestly, and this is a crap home team fanboy answer, but I am so excited for Redfall. I have been excited for this game since before Greenlight, when we were just talking about it conceptually, and I was just so in love with what their vision was and what that game is going to be. So I'm super excited to finally be able to talk about it. I haven't played any games longer than I've played the stuff from Bethesda Game Studios, so super excited to play Starfield. And then, just sort of go through the Xbox showcase. Like, I'm a big Game Pass player now, and so as you go through that show, like, I'm going to try so much of what is in there, because that's what Game Pass does for me, is it highlights and surfaces stuff that I might normally have missed if I was just, I'm going to buy this or I'm going to play that, or now that stuff's in Game Pass, I'm much more inclined to try things out. I was trying Psychonauts, the first one the other day. I've been jumping in and out of all kinds of stuff. I've been trying a lot of the cloud gaming to see what that looks like and plays like. So my dance card is essentially the show that we showed you on Sunday, just in the order of release.
Love that. I love that answer, and I'm excited to check that out with you as well. Greenie, you get this and one more special question that near and dear to my heart. So what game are you most excited for? What games are you excited for?
Yeah, I mean, I'm there with Pete. I think the show highlighted the stuff that we're most excited about. I would say, I want to give a special shout out to the Playground team and the Forza team. Building a new game that has a 5 on it from a franchise that's set all kind of heights, and again take it to another level with Forza Horizon 5 is truly special. There's a reason why that was the close of the show. There's a reason why we had a killer trailer and a great hands-on demo, and I think what they did and the attention and detail they put into that is just incredible. So that's definitely was a big highlight of the show. Listen, Return of the King, like Halo came back I mean, the multiplayer looks great. We've been in playing some of the multiplayer, so it's fun to see some of the new weapons and the new vehicles show up in that asset. You just get the feels with Chief and, you know, the AI and Cortana and all that. So I love seeing the kind of magic of that. But just the creative diversity. You know, we've got, you know, 5 first-party titles shipping this holiday. We've got more day-and-date Game Pass titles than we've ever have. And I am 100% pumped for both Redfall and what I think could be, I don't want to overhype it, but Starfield calling their date, but could be one of those truly special games. I mean, the first time in 25 years they've created a new world with Starfield. And I think it will just, you know, every generation we have those kind of platform defining games. And I think Starfield has the potential to be one of those truly special things. And the fact that Todd Howard and team has won more Game of the Year nominations than any other studio in gaming is creating something like that. I mean, taking us to the stars. Oh, I mean, I'm incredibly pumped. So I think that's where my head is on that.
Just wait. Just wait till we show you even more of what's coming in that game.
Can't wait to see it all. And with that, I know you two got to get out of here. We've had a long week. It is time to go relax over the weekend. We want to give a big thank you to the final stop in the big tour. Just 2 points in this tour. It's just a straight line right to us with me and Parris. We want to thank the Uncle Pete and Greeny Show, a.k.a. Aaron Greenberg and Pete Hines, for joining us here on the Xcast. Thanks for keeping it short, simple, sweet, and fun with us. So, Pete, thank you for joining us. Aaron Greenberg, you're the best. We'll talk about the mini fridge another time. Yes. Get out of here and enjoy your weekend, you guys.
Have a good one. Hi to everybody. Kind of funny.
This show is brought to you by Honey. We all shop online, and we've all seen that promo code FieldTonis at checkout. But thanks to Honey, manually searching for coupon codes is a thing of the past. Honey is the free shopping tool that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best one it finds to your cart. Honey supports over 30,000 stores online that range from sites that have tech and gaming products to popular fashion brands and even food delivery. Imagine you're shopping on one of your favorite sites. When you check out, the Honey button drops down and all you have to do is click Apply Coupons. Wait a few seconds as Honey searches for coupons it can find for that site. If Honey finds a working coupon, you'll watch the prices drop. Kinda Funny loves Honey. Tim Gettys tells you all the time to click that dang Honey button. It saved him and many of us here at Kinda Funny plenty of money when we use Honey. Honey has found its over 17 million members over $2 billion in savings. If you don't already have Honey, you could be straight up missing out on free savings. It's literally free and installs in just a few seconds. And by getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid and supporting this podcast. I'd never recommend something we don't use. Get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/kinda. That's joinhoney.com/kinda. We're also brought to you by Fitbod. Getting caught up in the same workout routine can get tiring. Don't get stuck doing the same workouts. Making progress towards the future you means overcoming new challenges. Fitbod creates a fitness program that continually adapts with new exercises and dynamic intensity that adjusts to how you're progressing, so you'll be challenged to meet your goals at your own pace. There's no perfect body that everyone can achieve, but what we can do is continually become a better version of ourselves. No workout is one size fits all. Fitbod creates a fitness program that continually adapts to you, so you stay challenged with new exercises, pacing, and intensity based on where you are and where you want to be. Kinda Funny knows Fitbod well. Gia and Tim's friend Danny uses it religiously. Fitbod understands that the path to achieving your best looks different for everyone. Fitbod creates a program based on your unique body, experience, and environment. Their algorithm uses data and analytics to help you build on your last workout to maximize your results. Whether you're exercising 3 days a week or twice a day, every workout is scientifically proven to be better than the last. Fitbod workouts are balanced to avoid overworking muscles with varied exercises to keep you sharp. No equipment? No worries. Fitbod has bodyweight routines for those looking to get fit at home or on the go. Fitbod is super easy to use and even has HD video tutorials to make learning new exercises a breeze. It integrates with other fitness and health apps like Apple Health, Fitbit, and Strava. Personalized training can be tough on a budget, but Fitbod is only $9.99 a month. That's $9.99 a month, or $59.99 a year. Sign up now and you'll get 25% off your membership. Pick up the pace on your fitness journey with Fitbod today, and your future self will thank you. Get 25% off your membership at fitbod.me/kfgames. That's 25% off at fitbod.me/kfgames. Last but not least, we're brought to you by Canva. Listen, design, It's hard. I'm talking about art design. Even making thumbnails in Photoshop can be hard for me sometimes, but that's why I'm excited to tell you about Canva. Kinda Funny loves Canva. Tim Gettys himself says that it's super dope and easy to use. Makes all different kind of design stuff. You just pick the styles you like and it does all the work. Super helpful for creators. Canva Pro is the easy to use design platform that has everything you need to design like a pro. Whether you're a professional designer or you're just getting started, Canva Pro can help you boost you and your team's productivity and creativity. It's a quick, easy, and affordable way to design whatever you need. No matter what you're creating and sharing, Canva Pro has everything you need in one place, including a collection of over 75 million premium photos, videos, audio, and graphics. Plus, Canva Pro comes with time-saving tools that simplify and speed up the creative process. You get all this and more in just one Canva Pro subscription. One of my favorite Canva features is how you can stay on brand. Preset your brand's fonts, colors, and logo for a unified look across all designs. There's no idea too big or too small for Canva Pro. Whether you're like me struggling to make video thumbnails, or you're an entrepreneur, or even a crafty mom, design like a pro with Canva Pro. Right now, you can get a free 45-day extended trial when you use my promo code. Just go to canva.me/KFgames to get your free 45-day extended trial. That's canva.me/KFgames. Canva.me/KFgames.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. A really fun interview with Pete Hines and Aaron Greenberg. We want to give a big thank you to Team Xbox and Bethesda for making all that happen. But Parris, that was really fun, really insightful stuff, and always cool to learn some things from the industry, from the people who work in there.
No, absolutely. And to anyone that we didn't go in depth on Starfield or Redfall. I mean, honestly, Pete Hines has been talking about that all week. I purposely didn't want to just repeat the same things that he said on other shows. That's why I tried to steer the conversation more about the behind the scenes stuff with game development during this pandemic and how that's affected, a big publisher / studios like Bethesda, you know what I mean? To kind of see what the pitfalls were, because I think that would have been compelling to see. I mean, obviously they talked a lot about me, and that's, I appreciate it, but I really wanted to talk more about Bethesda and Xbox, and I truly appreciate them coming on. And again, apologies, Mike. I will say this off air and on air. I didn't want to dominate the conversation because I absolutely wanted you to get your questions in, and I just knew we were limited on time. But you know how it is; you just got to make a split decision as you're going through it. But it was fun. It was definitely fun to talk to both of them. And I'm like I said during the thing, I'm excited for the next couple of years of Xbox, because it looks like they really have a focus and they know the direction that they're heading. I think it's exciting to see.
So well said, and actually plays perfectly into what you and I are going to talk about. So this week, the Xcast is all about you, Parris Lilly, and E3, of course. So we're going to talk more about you and you being at that Xbox Games Extended Showcase. I want to talk to you about behind the scenes stuff, right? It was really, really cool. We'll interview you. We'll talk to you. I want to know all about it. But before that, I think all the Kind of Funny best friends will really value and appreciate you and I kind of going in depth of what we did see at that Xbox and Bethesda showcase, because we haven't been able to do a really post breakdown. If you saw all the content throughout the week, it was rapid fire. We were moving, we were shaking, and we just didn't have a moment to talk Xbox, celebrate Xbox, and give our critiques of Xbox in their showcase. So I thought you and we could run it down, and I have a fun topic that we'll do in just a moment. But let's start it off with, what did you think of the showcase overall, Parris? Did you enjoy that? Were you pleased with that? What did you think?
Yeah, I was very pleased with it because, again, the inside baseball, I knew aspects of it, but out of order. So I didn't know how it was going to open, how it was going to close. I just knew about certain games that were going to be a part of it, obviously, because, I had to address them when I did the Game Showcase Extended. So I was just as curious as everyone else on Sunday to see how that presentation would show itself. And I thought it was very smart to come out of the gate with Todd Howard and show Starfield. That was absolutely the best way to start, to kind of show, this is why we spent $7.5 billion. You're going to immediately start to see the dividends of that. Here's this huge game, like Aaron Greenberg talked about himself. Starfield's going to be a big deal when it does come out next year. And the fact that they have that now as one of their major tentpole titles makes a lot of sense. I thought the next thing that we saw was Sarah Bond, and I do think that was very important to see her come out on that stage and basically address the business of Xbox and just kind of set the table for what people can expect for Xbox here over the next few years, right? And then we just got games, man. They just start showing us games. And my game out of all of this, my favorite is Replaced, because I didn't know about it until I saw it on Sunday with everyone else. And I just love that. I love, here's a smaller team making this game that it just looks so unique and fresh. It's absolutely something I want to get my hands on and play. But Stalker 2 was another one I was so excited to see on down the line. And then obviously, they close it with Redfall. Now, Mike, I'm just going to jump right into this because I think it's important that we admit when we're wrong about something. And Halo Infinite. So again, going behind the scenes, because obviously you saw I did the multiplayer interview with 343. Prior to that, they showed me the trailer. So I got to see that ahead of time. I saw the campaign trailer. I saw the multiplayer trailer. And as I'm sitting in this video editing room watching this in real time, I'm like, I'm wrong. I think I'm wrong. I can't wait to talk to Mike about this because I know you and I have been very adamant about Halo Infinite needs a new mode.
Thank you.
Not that it necessarily needed, we weren't saying specifically BR, probably some aspects of it, right? We're like, it has to do something. They can't just keep doing the same thing. And Mike, let me tell you, I walked away from that going, wow, am I wrong? I'm actually glad they're not trying a new mode out of the gate, because instead they're doubling down on what they do best. And that's classic Halo. You'll even hear me say it in the interview. I go, I'm watching that gameplay and I got excited and I go, that's Halo. That's why you play Halo. That's fun. I want to do big team battle. I want the vehicle chaos. I want everything that they showed us in that multiplayer trailer. Even taking it to campaign, the thing that I was very worried about is, what is the story going to look like? I thought the gameplay even last year was fine. I mean, everyone talk about Craig and all that, but I felt they really redeemed themselves with the visuals. Obviously, you got the voiceover by Joe Staten, but then when we saw that cutscene with Master Chief and they're talking about Cortana with the other AI, I go, they get it. They get it. They're getting back to what makes Halo great. And that's the whole point. That's everything that we've been talking about the past few weeks. So I'm gonna just go ahead and take the L right now, because I think they're gonna nail this whenever it comes out this holiday. And yeah, I was wrong. So I want to fully admit that. No excuses, whatever. I know we were banging the table about what we thought it should be. I know I've said many times that Halo can't be okay. It must be great. I still feel that way, but I think they're going to nail it. I do.
Yes, so I totally feel that. And it's funny you say that, because yeah, I'll take my lumps alongside you. I actually took 2 L's, Parris, because I thought Battlefield and Halo would come out and surprise us with a battle royale. I thought the change in the market would show, hey, these games need this, right? And they doubled down on what they're known for. Sure, we'll learn more about Battlefield, but they came out with their announcement and reveal trailer saying, hey, we're Battlefield. We're gigantic battles in an open world sandbox with the largest scale player base you can see. And we know what we do best, and that's conquest and that's breakthrough. And they're going to double down on those modes with a couple other modes we'll learn later on. And then on the flip side, Halo captured that moment. You're so right, Parris, of like seeing that multiplayer reveal. It was like, ooh, this is Halo. And then they added the extra layers onto it where you're like, okay, now I really want to play this. We're talking about bigger team battle now with 24 players, which is really exciting. And so looks like I'll take the L alongside you. Never say never for the future, but I will continue to keep a cautious eye on the player base and what's next on the game modes, right? I do understand we're going to come out with our team arena modes. We're going to double down with what we're best at. We have the big team battle, but what will be next, right? No mention at all of Warzone, right? Warzone 2.0. We didn't see any of that. It looks like they're going to focus on these 2 avenues, which is right for them, and it looks great. So I'm excited, and yeah, you're totally right. We'll take that L. I'll take a double L there, but we'll see what happens in the future, because we're going to know right off the rip that first month into the 3 months onward. And will Battlefield suffer being $70 multiplayer only without that mode that everybody loves? Will Halo, really benefit from being free to play multiplayer all the time and grab that larger player base and survive longer? Or will these 2 teams drop off and still have the big 3 continue to dominate the space? It's going to be a big one here, and I'm really excited to talk to you about that in the future.
No, absolutely. And kind of sticking on Halo and Battlefield for a second before we jump to the rest of the show. So I think the two other smart things that they're doing here is, and I talk about that during the interview as well, is the free to play aspect of it. Because again, when I talk about my kids, when I use my son as the barometer of, are they going to be able to capture that new generation of gamer who didn't grow up with Halo to want to jump in and play it? They've at least created something to say, hey, just go try it. Let the game speak for itself. Let the fun of Halo speak for itself. Maybe this is for you, maybe it isn't, but at least they're giving you the option to try it without investing money up front, which brings me to Battlefield. I'm starting to think it's a mistake that I don't care about the campaign. And I've said that before. I don't think it needs a campaign. I really don't. But I'm starting to wonder now, since it's not going to be on Game Pass, you are charging $70 and it's multiplayer only. And let's just keep it real here. The 800-pound gorilla has yet to reveal itself this holiday that we know is coming. That is Call of Duty. You already got Fortnite, Apex, all that stuff. You're coming off of Battlefield 5 and you're asking people to make this upfront investment to what looks like a fantastic multiplayer. I think that, you think that, but we don't know if everyone else thinks that. And this is just me kind of reading the room of what we've seen the chatter around social media and on message boards and things like that. They got to have the messaging tight, Mike. They do. They have to sell us the rest of the summer, whatever this beta is going to be, into October, why you should spend $70 to invest in the Battlefield. I personally think it'll be fine. I think everything that EA has shown us, that DICE has shown us so far, tells me this will be a premium multiplayer experience. They're getting back, again, kind of like 343. They're getting back to doing what they do best. And I completely understand that, respect, and it excites me. I wonder, what is that opening day audience going to be for Battlefield? Whereas I think Halo being free to play is going to have a huge opening day audience because you can play it across multiple platforms and you don't have to spend a dime to at least try it. And then the way they're doing that battle pass in Halo is unique as well, where it never expires. You can buy one season and continue. You know what I'm saying? So they're doing all these different things that is making it very player friendly to want to at least play it versus feeling like you're getting nickeled and dimed, feeling like you're being overcharged for it. Whereas Battlefield, I like I said, I think the communication is going to be key on that one going in. So to me, when I think about those two games, that's kind of in retrospect the two big takeaways that I have. Where I'm excited for both, I will be there day one for both, but I feel one is going to get the audience to at least try your game. The other one, I just don't know. Especially at $70. That is a lot to ask coming off of your previous game not landing the way that it should have.
You're so right, Parris. And seeing the reception online has been nothing but positive for both ends of the spectrum, right? But there is that conversation of the $70. You see the diehards who are into it day one, like you and I, where it's like, no, I'll pay that. I have no problem with that. But then you also see the other side of free to play, and you see other markets like, man, you have a big uphill battle that begins now. And July 22nd, when they go to EA Play and show off those other two modes, man, it's got to be really exciting because right now, we've only seen Conquest mode. We've only seen Breakthrough. Their one game mode, which is all out warfare. And yeah, it's cool and it's awesome and it's magnificent. But would you really pay $70 for just that? So I think the other two really got to speak to us and be something special where, yeah, I got this game mode. I'm going to jump over to that and I can really get $70 worth. Because in all honesty, whether money is a factor to you or not, there's only so many hours in the day to play the games.
Agreed.
And there's a lot of games coming your way. So I love that we talked about that, and I can't wait to talk about more of it because they're in the showcase. But Parris, to give my overall thoughts on the big Xbox and Bethesda showcase, I thought they did a fantastic job, truly, Parris. I think they really read the room and listened to the audience and understood what we wanted, right? But I also think they did a great job, like you brought up with, Pete Hines and Todd Howard and Sarah Bond, of like always showing us that human aspect, right? It is a big mega corporation that wants your dollars, that wants to go and elevate the business, but there's humans working there. And when you see their faces and you hear their enthusiasm, you hear their thoughts, it's always exciting to listen to them. And yeah, it was awesome. And to hold our guy, Phil Spencer, to the final 15 minutes was wild to me to think about that. I thought he would have been the first one to come out, set the tone, then everybody else follows. To keep him till the last, that was a big statement there. And I think with Bethesda and Sarah Bond, you covered all your bases, which was really cool to see.
Yeah, and that's kind of I think also important when Phil did come out. What he said to me felt important because notice how he talked about shooters and he started integrating all the Bethesda shooters in with the Xbox shooters, and it just made sense. Like I didn't even question it, which, you know, we ran out of time with Pete and Aaron. I kind of wanted to talk about the overall collaboration of the Microsoft studios with the Bethesda studios. When we think about id Tech, when we think about Orion potentially going the other way into the Microsoft studios and maybe coming back on the other side. We know like the Coalition and Ninja Theory are obviously doing a lot of work right now with Unreal 5. What does that collab like? Are we going to see this big collaboration now between all 23 plus, I guess, allegedly studios, you know, as we move forward? And it seems like obviously that is the case because like they said, it's going to be one big family. And by the end of that show, that's exactly what it felt like. Like it's not Xbox and oh, by the way, we have Bethesda. No, it is truly Xbox and Bethesda in this family, in this true partnership, working and collaborating together, moving forward. And again, this is why I was saying before, you know, even when Pete was on, because I know there was a little controversy about Starfield being exclusive and some of the comments that he made, which I think was kind of taken out of context. But the overall point is this. There's always going to be exclusive. They're going to be exclusive on Xbox. There's going to be on PlayStation. Nintendo is literally an exclusive. And it's just a part of the business. You got to take the business out, the personal out of the business, right? Starfield is going to be exclusive, but you can't play it on PC. You can't play it on cloud, obviously in Xbox. If it is truly the revolutionary game that we're hoping it will be, you'll figure out a way to go play Starfield if you don't already own an Xbox or a part of that ecosystem. And just the same way, we obviously play Ratchet and Clank and we play Spider-Man and all, you know, Returnal and, you know, Horizon Forbidden West and all these other games are exclusive on a PlayStation. Same as we play Mario and everything else on Nintendo. If you're a gamer and you love games, you'll figure it out because you want to play games, right? So I just think overall, when what we saw this weekend, like I said to them, Xbox feels like it's matured. Like they're in a very mature place right now. There was confidence coming out of that. There wasn't a lot of, golly gee, I hope we can get here and just wait till 2023. It was like, no. We're giving you some stuff right now. And next year, we're giving you even more. That's what I took out of this press conference.
Yes.
And oh, by the way, day one on Game Pass. 27 out of the 30 things they showed is all on Game Pass. So they got the message out there and they, in my opinion, enhanced the value of Game Pass at the same time and showed why, you know, we say all the time on here, it's such a great value and probably one of the best deals you can get in gaming right now. So yeah, I thought they knocked it out of the park. I really did.
Knocked it out of the park. And I think they showed us past, right? 10 more Bethesda titles coming to Game Pass right now. Like you said, right? Here's the roadmap for the next 6 months. We're going to hit you with 2 games almost every single month till the end of the year. And then here's what's happening in 2022. They keep their cards close, which I was really impressed about. We talked about it beforehand when you were off of like, well, do you show Fable? Do you show Avowed? How far out can we really show these games when they're not quite ready, right? And I think Pete did an awesome interview over on GameSpot of talking about once you go out there and reveal it, you better have a roadmap now and you better know what you're going to show next. And the content will dictate that. And I think they did a great job of like holding some of these cards close to their chest because we know 2022, 2023, they're going to be back with conferences. They're going to be back with more showcases. And now they're going to show those games when they're ready. And so, man, oh man, we look back on this and go, they crushed it with right now what we're going to see, the value and the future. There's the roadmaps like we wanted to see. Was really, really cool. So I thought it was terrific overall. And I can't wait to break it down with you and all the best friends out there. So we're going to play a fun game, Parris. I'm going to take it from one of my favorite podcasts on earth from ESPN, Jalen and Jacoby. They call it
I'm
this.
Right there with you. That's my guy. Yeah.
They call it Method Man. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Yep.
So if I say a game you want to talk about, you say hit the brakes, Mike. If you want to keep it moving, we'll keep it moving because we got 30 games to talk about from this showcase.
All right, I'm Jalen. I'm going to be Jalen. All right, let's do it.
That's my guy. Get the bat out. Okay. So
wait.
Does he have the bat? Oh, Jalen will love this. There we go.
Awesome.
Get the bat out. Let's make this
bat
happen right now, Parris. Here we go. We kicked off the Xbox and Bethesda game showcase with Todd Howard opening the show, showing off an in-engine People, don't forget that it was in-engine game footage of Starfield with the reveal trailer of 11/11/22 and it being Xbox exclusive.
Hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes. Let's talk about it, Parris. Tell me what you want to tell me about Starfield.
So it's interesting. So again, I'll take you some inside baseball. So the first time that I knew they were going to 100%, declare that Starfield was exclusive is when I was in the script phase for the stuff that I was going to talk about in the extended show. Because if you watched it, I literally lead off talking about that, and I was like, "Ooh, they finna come with the heat and talking in-engine, and it's going to be exclusive. I can't wait to see this." So the fact that they let off the show, again, shows a lot of confidence in Starfield. And we still got 17 months before the game gets here. And, Pete even kind of alluded to that a little bit, that they got time to show us more. They didn't need to give us more than what we got during that reveal to kind of say, here's the engine. It's improved from what you've seen in the past with Bethesda games. More is to come. And they got plenty of time to do that, going into 2022. And obviously, because think about it, the next E3, Starfield's going to be there again. So I don't think there's any rush for them right now to over explain or quote unquote over promise what Starfield's going to be, because we know how game development works, which is again why I wanted to talk about that a little bit, because things might change between now and November. We don't know. There might be a feature or something that they show off today that they wind up having to cut tomorrow. We just simply don't know. So I thought what we saw of Starfield was enough. It whet the appetite. It kind of gave us some perspective on what the game will be. And then we'll just have to be a little patient and wait until 2022 potentially to get more information. And I'm perfectly fine with that.
Definitely, I agree with you, Parris. I think this was a great way to reveal it, get us really excited about it. And Aaron said it really well earlier in our interview of like, this feels like it's going to be a big moment. This feels like this could be one of those, just like Skyrim was with 11/11/11. Here we go again, a really fun date, 25 years, only real two big IPs, and now they're going to add a third into this situation. And they've always talked about it, how they did Elder Scrolls, they wanted Fallout, and now you look at it and they said, Todd was always interested in sci-fi, and this is what he wanted to do. And I'm all about it, right? This world building, what we've seen from their previous titles over 25 years, this feels like it's going to be something big, right? Will it be when we get there? We'll find out. But right now, this moment, it feels like Starfield's going to be something really big to talk about, and I'm so excited about it. All right, up next, our good friend Sarah Bond came out. She said it again. Starfield is exclusive. Hit the brakes. Okay.
All you had to say was Sarah Bond. Hit the brakes. Go ahead. What are we talking about?
Sarah Bond says it's exclusive again. Then she comes out and says, we're going to show you 30 games. 27 of those will be on Game Pass, Parris. We have 30 games, 27 coming to Game Pass. An exciting moment. What did you think about Sarah Bond hitting the stage?
It was like I said previously, I thought that was very important. I thought seeing her basically, quote unquote, leading the charge of what the showcase was going to be and setting the tone for it was very important, because, we all know Phil. We see him all the time. Obviously, Greenie and all that. Even Pete Hines is great. These are all people that have been in this industry for decades at this point, which is great. But Sarah Bond is that new face. She is that new voice that I think this industry needs to hear from. And it was great to have her be the person to, like I said, basically lay out what expectations should be for the show. And then even beyond that, we can even take this into the virtual press briefing that both of us got a chance to check out as well. And some of the things that she just talked about, the new gaming experiences, how they're leveraging the cloud, all of that. These are all future forward thinking ideas that are happening right now with Xbox, and they're laying the foundation for the future of gaming. And be excited for it, man. That's the whole point. We're the ones that benefit from all of this, so exciting time. So yeah, absolutely. I was very happy to see Sarah Bond be the person to give that speech at the very beginning of the show.
It was so dope. And it was so right. Like you said, Parris, you said it all so right. And I think it's one of those, when they talk about spotlighting and bringing on new faces, right? This is the thing we talk about year after year. Now you point, right? Hey, I know that person. Or, oh, man, I'm familiarized with that person. I feel comfortable next to them, hearing what they have to say, and having Sarah be that person right now for Xbox and leading that charge for so many, right? She represents thousands of employees, thousands of workers who are through her sharing their, enthusiasm. It is perfect and it's so awesome. She got to introduce Stalker 2, April 28, 2022. Hit the brakes or keep it moving on Stalker.
Man, you just want me to hit the brakes on everything. Hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes. Tell
Someone
me
in
about
the
Stalker.
chat pointed this out, and they're absolutely right. This is going to be a 3-hour podcast with you two.
I know, right? I'm very excited for Stalker 2 because I'm new to the Stalker universe. I know it has a cult following, but this will be my first time jumping into it. And I know there's some ex devs that worked on the Metro series and obviously this is Chernobyl, so that Russia setting makes a lot of sense. But this looks good, man. It looks so good. I cannot wait to get my hands on. What do they say? April 28th, I believe, 2022. Yep. This is coming out. Yeah, sign me up day one.
Parris, this one looks good, Parris, right? This is one of those where like it goes in and they're having this moment by the fire and like you're looking at it and you're like, man, this seems interesting. And then it cuts back out there in the wilderness and you're like, ooh, this has captured my attention. And one thing of note from E3, a lot of Chernobyl settings. I don't know if you caught that, but like all the games that we saw throughout the weekend, very heavy out here in Russia in the Chernobyl landscape. So kind of fun to see this theme go around. And I actually personally have one of like, you know, I tried the Metro series. I enjoyed that. I got burnt out on that. And this is a game where it's like, I look at this and as much as I'm praising it, I most likely would pass on this if it wasn't for Game Pass, right? There's a lot of games to play.
Really?
This isn't like the true one for me, especially with, you know, the games that I would play. So this is the Game Pass one where I'm like, man, thanks to Game Pass, because I would have a tough time spending $60 on this because it just doesn't fully speak to me. That's all.
Well, I think because I'm a Metro fan, I love that series. Yeah, I'm whether it was in Game Pass or not, I'm picking this up because it's definitely it fits the vibe and the tone that I would want to experience. I love a good, you know, single player first person shooter experience, and this captures it absolutely. Atmosphere, everything.
Very excited. Up next is a game I know you and I and the whole Kind of Funny crew is very excited about. Back for Blood. Announced coming to Game Pass, a huge one right there.
Keep it moving.
And PvP. Keep it moving. Okay, we don't need to talk about it.
Keep it moving. Everybody already know what's up. It's coming to Game Pass. See, I'm trying to be like Jalen. It's coming to Game Pass. You already know what time it is. Keep it moving. Play the beta in August.
Xbox Game Studios and Avalanche Studios collab on a new open world co-op game all about heists, Contraband. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes. Shout out to Jez. I'm interested. Obviously, we want to know more about this, but this is what was it? Typhoon, Cyclone, or whatever Jez has been saying for the longest. But this is it, and kind of what is it that it's almost a payday type co-op experience. I guess we're saying heist, like I guess Grand Theft Auto. You know, the heist missions in there was an inspiration for this. I mean, you know. We haven't seen any real gameplay or anything on it, but just the concept of it sounds interesting. So looking forward to hearing more about it. Hopefully we'll see more in 2022.
This partnership and the theme has me so hyped, Parris, because I am such a huge Just Cause fan and a big shout out to Mad Max. And whenever you put Avalanche on there, you have my attention. And me and my squad have been playing a lot of GTA 5. We've been going back and doing the heists. So the idea of this team doing a 4-player co-op heist type video game, I'm all about it. And I can't wait to learn more, but a really fun reveal here, something special. And yeah, shout out to Jez for just constantly spamming up those Cyclone/Typhoon emojis and getting us excited. And here it is live and on display. Up next, a cool collab as well. Sea of Thieves and Pirates of the Caribbean. Jack Sparrow came out to introduce A Pirate's Life, dropping on June 22nd.
Keep it moving.
Keep it moving. You can play
Jack
that game
Sparrow,
on
Sea of Thieves. We already know that's a perfect match. Everybody go pick it up. We don't have to delay on that one.
Up next, here's your game that's released right now. Yakuza Like a Dragon hitting Game Pass. Almost all of the Yakuzas are now in Game Pass. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Keep it moving. Shout out to Rubes.
Not almost all the games. The entire, and this says it in the trailer. I'll pull it up right here, Mike. We'll keep it moving. The entire mainline Yakuza saga, right there, Mike, on Game Pass. Exactly. There you go.
I just meant Judgment, but you're totally right, man. It's right. All those good ones is right. Up next, you and I already saw it before. Battlefield gameplay reveal. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Keep it moving. We already debated that one.
Here's a big one that everybody has their eyes on. 12 Minutes finally gets a release date, August 19th, 2021.
Hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes. Tell me all about 12
Gotta
Minutes.
fully admit something. I have no interest in this. And I know a lot of people do. I don't. I just don't. I never have. What about you?
I am into this. I love the voice actors on this, and I am interested in how this game plays out, right? It's over the course of 12 minutes, and what does each playthrough feel like? What does it look like? This is one of those, I don't feel like it's a giant time sink, Parris. That's why I'm excited about it.
You know what concerns me about this? And I'm blanking on the name, but it's a PlayStation. It's the developer that made Heavy Rain. What was that game? Oh my God.
Detroit Become
Heavy
Human?
Rain.
No, not Detroit. Oh my God. I'm blanking on the name.
Beyond Two Souls.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I get that vibe from it. And
Okay.
I don't know.
Because Willem Dafoe's in it?
Maybe. It might be.
He's not feeling it. All right, keeping it moving. Our friend Tim Schafer, Psychonauts 2, finally gets a release date.
Hit the brakes.
Tell me about it, Parris. We got a release date, August 25th, 2021.
I'm going to say it right now. I think, call me crazy, I think when Jeff Keighley is doing his thing in December, we're going to be talking about that game. It's going to be in the discussion.
Hell yeah.
I
Yeah.
think-
No, Parris,
Parris.
I'm right there with
Whoa,
you. Like,
Parris
I'm
and
going to take
Barrett.
it. Like, people have been wondering, like, oh man, when are they going to have the Ratchet? We've been hoping, like, they're going to come out with Banjo Kazooie. Like, I think this is for this year. This is Xbox's like Ratchet and Clank.
Yes.
Like,
Yep.
fidelity,
Wow.
whatever you could argue, but just like the look of this game, the style of this game, the fact, like. I've got recency bias because I finally played the first one and beat it a couple weeks ago. Like, I am so excited for this game, and like, even like, I would say I'm more excited for this game like right now than I was like in the same distance of release with Ratchet. Like, I would say I'm more hyped for Psychonauts 2.
Two things on that.
Yeah.
First of all, go back and watch the Tim Schafer deep dive he did during the Xbox Game Showcase Extended hosted by Parris Lilly.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, go watch or listen to the interview that Tim Schafer just did on Spawn on Me with Khalif.
Hell yeah.
I'm telling you, listening to it really sounds like when Microsoft obviously acquired Double Fine and basically gave them the extra time and everything they need, Tim Schafer was able to truly realize his vision for what he wanted Psychonauts to be with Psychonauts 2. And that excites me because, like you're saying, Barrett, if you go back and play the first one, and I think what's going to happen, I think a lot of people are going to play Psychonauts 2, and then it's going to wow them, and then they're going to jump back and go play the first Psychonauts.
Yeah.
And they're going to realize, dude, we've been sleeping on this franchise for the past 15 years or whatever.
That's what I've been saying for the last couple of weeks. Like, this game, like, for God, when was the first one? 2005. Like, I was in 5th grade going into 6th grade. Like, this should have been prime Barrett, middle school Barrett, a game right here, and I just never got to it. And I'm glad that I finally put the time into it. And like, yeah, I just want like to encourage everybody who's on Xbox platforms who has Game Pass, like, check this game out. Like, it was so fun to play it on PC, have played it at like 1440p with a little better resolution and stuff like that, and to just play it and check it out. And like, I will give you a warning of like, because like, kind of leaning into Greg's old game is old, there's some things here and there like once or twice where I was like, oh man, like, yes, this is definitely a 2005 decision, but there was just like one point where you have to like kind of grind for in-game currency, which in total took me like 20 minutes to actually do. And then there's another part very late in the game where things were getting a little frustrating with just like the way the controls have aged with like the platforming stuff.
Yeah.
But besides those two like points, which again total to 25 minutes between the both of them, that game is amazing. And like Grim Fandango is like one of my favorite games of all time, and anything that comes from the mind of Tim Schafer and Tim Schafer's team is something special, and is something to give time towards. So I highly recommend trying out Psychonauts 1 before the sequel comes out in a couple months, which I wasn't fully correct on, but the closer we got to the Xbox showcase, the less I was feeling hot on the shadow dropping at E3. So I got that half right there. So yeah, I'm play the first one, be excited for the second one because it looks dope as hell.
Love it, you two. I like that energy. I like that call out, Parris. We'll keep an eye out come December but we don't have to wait long because August is right around the corner. Up next, I'm going to name this the Bethesda block because our good friend who just joined us on the show, Pete Hines, came out, announced that Doom Eternal is getting optimized. You have 10 titles coming to Game Pass to add 30 total Bethesda titles. Fallout, Elder Scrolls update. We're moving on.
Keep it moving. Pete crushed my dreams telling me we were going to get cross progression with Fallout 76, but I am legitimately. All joking aside, I'm very interested to also try out Elder Scrolls Online. Like I'm not even kidding. Hearing him talk about it on stage, maybe going, there's other people out there in the community that have really talked highly about it, and I've just never tried it. And I'm almost feeling like because an optimized version is coming to Series X, I do believe as well.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm interested.
I'll tell you this right now, Parris. I've played a lot of MMOs on the console. It is hands down the best MMO I've ever played on console. And I love it a lot. So I hope you do check it out. Up next, little surprise, Party Animals coming 2022.
Keep it moving.
Keep it moving. Up next, Game of the Year talks last year. Hades coming to Game Pass August 13th.
Keep it moving. Like you said, Game of the Year. Everybody should go play it.
If you haven't played it yet, what are you doing, Jabroni? Is right. Keep it moving.
I'm a Jabroni because I haven't played it, so I need to do it too. But I know
it's playing in August. I can't wait. Up next, one that caught everyone's attention, made everybody shut up on the live reacts. Somerville coming to Game Pass.
Hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes. Okay, Parris. You have a little hesitation there.
Yeah, because I'm gonna throw it to you. What's your interest on it?
My interest level is high right here, Parris. I think whenever we're in a live reaction, you're with the Kind of Funny crew and everybody is constantly talking and sharing the enthusiasm, and something catches their eye so much that everyone shuts up, that means it's going to be something we're going to talk about and we're going to play here. And I love this art style that we've seen, right? There's talk that the creators of this, there's people from inside in Limbo working on this, and you can see that right off the bat, right when you look at this. And I like this idea of despair, humanity's probably gone, and we're on the run from these aliens. I definitely will be giving this a check out, especially after I played Inside. I know that I want to try this out.
Fair enough. I'm pretty much there with you. I mean, it definitely piqued my interest, and this is where I think I agree with you were talking about the other game being on Game Pass. Yep, I'll try it. Why not?
Dang, that's the best part. All right, up next, Bonnie Ross and Big Joe Staten came out to talk all things Halo.
I'm going to say keep it moving because I feel we really already deep dived on this, other than to say we said a few weeks ago, June was going to be a reckoning for Halo. And I think they answered the call. I really do. So I'm very happy for those folks at 343.
I'm going to give us a quick little stop and pass by. They hit it as right. I haven't seen such a big positive reception and hype for Halo in years. And somehow they captured that in 4.5 minutes. I mean, mind you, this is shoved in the middle of the conference. It was not opening. It was not closing. This was 4.5 minutes and heavily relied on Halo multiplayer that felt like a YouTube montage. Crushed it. Great job to the team over at 343.
Let me add one other thing to that. Yeah. That also speaks to the overall confidence that they had in this press briefing. Halo was in the middle of the show. Think about that. They didn't have to open with it. They didn't have to close with it. Oh, by the way, yeah, Halo Infinite. And it knocked it out of the park in the middle of the show. So kudos to them.
We did have a user question coming in from BJ Bernardo asking, hey, Mike and Parris, will they continue to do those fun monthly Halo Infinite Inside Infinite updates? Yes, they will. So look for the next blog post next month. They're going to continue that with some really fun stuff. So wanted to make sure BJ knew about that one. Up next, Blizzard showed up. Blizzard and Activision with Diablo 2 Remastered.
Keep it moving.
Keep it moving. Up next.
We played that already.
We played Asobo, Plague Tale 2 Requiem. Keep it moving.
Now, pause. Hit the brakes on that, because I do have to talk about this. So, Inside Baseball, if you watch on the extended, when I do a toss to that and I'm talking about, I can't even say the damn name because I couldn't say it then. We had to do multiple takes of it. I cannot say it for me, please, Mike, please.
Plague Tale Requiem.
I can't say I can't say it.
Requiem.
I cannot say that
Requiem
word.
for a dream, but just
oh my god.
Hold on, let me so it's a Plague Tale Requiem for whatever.
Yeah, I cannot say it. And if there was anything that I stumbled on when we were shooting, it was that.
Yes,
like literally to the point to the point where they had to, what is it? Phonicize it, however you say it, where they're like,
awesome. Really? Yeah.
Requiem, and I'm like, yeah. So that was horrible.
That is some great inside baseball, and we're going to talk about that right when we wrap this up because I want to know all that fun inside stuff.
Yeah.
So save some more of that. Here's an update for people if they're interested. A Plague's Tale Innocence, which is the first one, is getting optimized 4K at 60 July 6th. So if you're into that, make sure to check it out. That was during the one that Parris hosted, just so you know if you missed out on the fun. Yeah. Up next, Far Cry 6.
Keep it moving.
Keep it moving. After that, Slime Rancher 2.
Keep it moving.
Up next, Shredders.
Hit the brakes, because I know you're excited about this. So tell me how excited you are about it. And I got an inside baseball on that one too, but go ahead. I know you're excited.
I am so excited about this. I think this team really knocked it out the park with this reveal. Of course, an ID at Xbox title. We've seen what ID at Xbox can do for these incredible indie developers. And this is what we talk about when I say me and my friends rip up and down the slopes all day long, and we come home and we want more, right? You want to continue to grow and learn the slopes. You want to practice the jumps and all the sick tricks you did. And we're always looking for that more grounded, that realistic simulation. And it looks like this team is really figuring that out, right? It's not SSX tricky. It's not Shaun White. It's not go out of your mind snowboarding. This is grounded, realistic snowboarding to the maximum with your friends. And it looks like they're really hitting this. So I can't wait for December. I continue to preach their praises. And I'm looking forward to for what you're going to tell me here. So
this is, again, funny just how production works. So when I was shooting everything, sometimes I would have to do multiple takes on things because they weren't 100% sure, like if they could be confident in the date that it's coming out. Well, Shredders was an interesting one because they weren't 100% sure that it was going to be in the main show. So I would do takes where I talk about Shredders, and then I would have to do another take where I didn't talk about it. So that was fun watching Sunday when I saw Shredders, and I go, oh, it made the show. Great. So I know what take they're going to use now. So that was funny to see.
That's really cool, Parris. I love that. All right, up next, a game that won my weirdest game of the show award, Atomic Heart.
Keep it moving.
Yeah, that game's too weird. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah,
Up next, Replaced, a game that you talked about before this segment. So I assume you have to hit the brakes.
No, I'm going to say keep it moving because we already talked about it. And if anyone follows my Twitter, you already know that was my game. That was my game of this show. It's fantastic.
It's hot looking, is right. That's a great game of the show. Up next, Grounded came out. Shroom and Doom update.
Keep it moving. Keep it moving because I'm going to tell you to go watch the extended interview that I did on the show with the Grounded team. How about that?
Up next, a game that took over the world last year, Among Us Console Edition.
Keep it moving. We already know about Among Us.
After that, I'm totally going to mispronounce this name because it's a super anime game that I'm never going to play. Edie Chronicles. I
Keep
think
it moving.
Is what it is.
I want to say it's Iodine.
No one mispronounced that one. We're going to retake that. Up next, one that you got to see already, The Ascent.
I'm going to say keep it moving because, we already did the preview on that. We've already talked about it here on the show. I already tell everybody when July hits, it's on Game Pass. Go play it. It's going to be great.
Let's kick it over to the PC kids. Age of Empires 4, dated for October 28th.
Hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes on it. Talk to me about Age of Empires.
So this is another fun one with the Inside Baseball. So, I did the extended interview with the team to talk about Age 4 and then just some of the legacy Age games as well. And it was just a fun conversation for me because I am a fan of the series for a long time. And it's great to see Age 4 coming back. And then ironically enough, this is where Game Pass PC gets some extra value because this will not be on console. This is a PC game. And that's just the way it should be played. I'm sure at some point, maybe they'll figure out a way to get it on console, but this is another example of focus on what you do right first before you worry about the other thing, right? So they know this is a PC game. They're sticking to those roots and they're getting out on PC and Age fans should definitely be excited about this because there's going to be some fun stuff coming to it.
So well said, Parris. And I'm such a huge Age of Empires fan that I cannot wait for Age of Empires 4. I'm so excited. The deep dive, that we've seen. The conversation that you had during the extended just got me even more excited for this. So turn on your PCs, get ready. Up next, something that almost stole the show, Parris, a surprise announcement from Obsidian, The Outer Worlds 2.
Hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes. Talk to me about this reveal.
That was the most genius trailer ever because they knew they had nothing, but they still did something fun with it. And if anyone's played The Outer Worlds, they should be excited for The Outer Worlds too. So another inside baseball. I kind of got to talk to some of the Obsidian guys off to the side while we're waiting to do the Grounded interview, and just to kind of it made me excited because I've always been a fan of Obsidian. So by the way, Grounded, shifting back to that real quick, 18 people are making that game. Blows my mind. We're having that conversation. To see that, now we're getting, this is kind of similar to Double Fine. You're getting an Obsidian that now has the backing of Microsoft, so they can kind of, quote unquote, reach their full potential. So it excites me to see what they're going to do with Avowed. It excites me to see how they continue to iterate on Grounded. Then you look at the Outer Worlds and you think, man, small budget, small team, made the first one. It was great. What can they do now with the Outer Worlds 2? We probably won't see it for a while, and that's fine. But man, when it does hit, I think it's going to be something special.
This reveal did so well, Parris, because at the jump when you saw that giant beast, you didn't know what it was. They had some really fun jokes, some really self-awareness on that one, and then they revealed Outer Worlds 2, and you're like, wow, this team is incredible. And like you said, shout out right there to Grounded, and not only for Obsidian and Microsoft to keep that going, but like to have that passion project still alive with that small team. That's awesome to hear. And on the flip side, look at all the love that Obsidian's getting, right? That's one of those where like people now are taking notice. If you haven't taken notice yet, you damn well sure have, and you probably will now. That's like one of the crown jewels. Like when we look at all these lineups of the different studios, Obsidian is right up at the top, and 23 studios all deserve some love, but Obsidian continues to go out there and shine, which I love. All right, Parris, it's time to take flight, and of course, go Top Gun. We got Flight Sim coming to console. Hit the brakes. July 27. Tell me what you want to tell me.
So obviously, anyone that watched the extended, that one to some more inside base. Well, first of all, Flight Simulator coming to console. Like I said during the interview, what sorcery are you doing to be able to do this? But it is a combination of obviously the power of the Series X, leveraging some of the stuff with the cloud. That Maverick expansion they're bringing in, that's going to be a ton of fun. But yeah, the inside baseball. So one of the producers floated the idea to me about doing the glasses. I was supposed to have a bomber jacket too. And I told them, I said, get 2XL. I wear XL, but in the jacket, get 2XL, or I have broad shoulders. It's not going to fit right. Well, they got XL. And I tried to put it on, and it was Tommy Boy all over again. Fat man and a little coat. Like, yep, we're not wearing that. Stick to the hoodie. And so I just rocked the glasses. And I remember it was totally my option to do it. I wasn't forced into doing it. And I remember the producer said to me, she goes, you're okay with this? You want to do it? And I looked at her and I go, this is, and my dog agrees, this is either going to be hilarious or a complete disaster. Let's do it.
Yes.
So
I love that.
And did it. Yeah. So it was great.
This could be the dumbest thing I've ever done or the greatest thing. We're going for it. I will say, like you said, what sorcery are you doing to bring this onto the console? Because we saw it and it demanded a lot from PCs, and it's really cool to show the power of this console and what it can do and that team bringing it over. But you said it so well, and you asked the perfect question during the extended look of, hey, what's up with all of these cool accessories that we can plug in? We'll be able to do that. And he looked right at you and said, we are doing our best to ensure that all of these products are going to work. They have 2 right off the bat, which will be ready to rock. So that's really cool to know, like, hey, those flight sticks that you got, you're going to be able to plug it into the console and have a great experience as well. They also talked about Land Anywhere. That's a really cool update where you're just going to be able to land, right? That was the one thing I always remember playing is like, there was no landing. Once we got in the sky, we just enjoyed it, and I just crashed into something. Love the idea of being able to land anywhere, and the elevation of the tutorials is a big deal as well. So shout out to this team for really elevating this experience coming to consoles.
Agreed.
All right, we're rounding it out. Only 2 big pieces left. Forza Horizon 5 is going south of the border, Parris Lilly. It's
breaks. So again, inside baseball, I got to see all these trailers early, and I remember obviously we knew the rumors and everything, Forza coming. So I remember they was like, okay, you want to see the Forza trail? I'm like, all right, let's go in here, Mexico or whatever. Blew me away. The visuals on what they're able to do with this, I forget the exact term, but basically the Forza engine, what Playground Games is able to do with 5. I mean, just stunning, man. Absolutely stunning. I know they're gonna have the 4K 60 performance mode that they're gonna put in there. There's gonna be some ray tracing elements, whatever. Regardless of that, just a stunner. It's gonna be between that and Flight Simulator, probably the 2 most impressive visual games that you'll see on an Xbox Series X this year for sure. I'm more of a latecomer to the Forza Horizon series as far as really getting into it. I dabbled in 3. 4 was where I really started to get into it, but I'll be there day one for 5. I think they're doing some fun stuff with that. And again, leveraging the cloud for some specific things and just connectivity, getting you playing with your friends. Because I think what was one of the things Mike Brown said is you'll be able to have a lot of real people, like it'll be all real people that you're seeing, not just their drivatars and things like that where possible. I think that's great as well. And just really encourage people to explore Mexico. And Mexico is such a great setting because it has so many different unique regions to it, right? Where you can go from being in the mountains, you're in the sand dunes, they got the ocean settings, obviously all the unique towns and everything that they'll have as well. So I know a lot of people voted Forza Horizon 5 as kind of their game of E3, and I do think that's deserved. I think when November 9th gets here, that'll be a fun experience for a lot of people.
What a flex. What an incredible move. And this is another one. We'll talk about Playground Games and people taking notice, right? You also know that Fable's coming as well. And like, that's another crown jewel,
using
another big
engine
studio in this, right?
Yeah.
And man, oh man, Parris, I cannot believe we heard the rumors and I was still stunned to see a November release date, right? The turnaround from this team. Last year, we knew about Forza Motorsport and the platform, and everybody assumed that. To see Horizon come out and stun us in such a way with Mexico and what that team is doing with the 12K cameras and capturing the skyline and what's going to happen above is like unreal. And yeah, me and my friends immediately re-downloaded Forza Horizon 4. We've been ripping it up ever since and cannot wait for 5 in November. What a showstopper right there, what that was. And of course, our man, Phil Spencer, had to come out, had a great monologue, like you said, really addressed all the gamers, addressed the future of Xbox. And I think that was a really special one of putting up the timelines like you and I talked about. I wanted to see that right behind him. And he showed us the timelines of what's going to happen here in the near future and in the far distant future. And he said, well, we got one more fun thing. And it's coming from our friends over at Bethesda. If you remember when Pete Hines came out, he had the Bite Back t-shirt. And that was a nice little piece for Project Omen, which coming from Arcane, Redfall. This was a showstopper, Parris. What you think?
Breaks.
Tell me all about it, Parris. What are you vibing with Redfall?
And I hinted at this when Pete was on, and I didn't want to put him on the spot, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. So Tim Gettys basically put out a tweet earlier this week saying that Arcane could potentially get to that next level tier of just well-known studios. Like we see Insomniac is there, Naughty Dog, people like that. Arcane, in my opinion, has been one of the most underrated studios in this industry for a long time. And their pedigree, sales numbers may not necessarily speak for itself, but quality absolutely does. When we talk about Dishonored, we talk about Prey. We're about to get Deathloop, which, we got to preview, which looks like another banger. Redfall is going to be their coming out party. I'm telling you right now, when that game drops, I think the world's going to get to truly see how talented Arcane is, and they're going to be able to kind of elevate to be one of these top tier, development studios out there. So I'm very excited for it. I love the concept of it where, it has some kind of Back 4 Blood, Left 4 Dead type elements because we're hunting vampires. You can do the co-op stuff. But then when you think about the Arcane pedigree and you think about a game like Prey or Dishonored and just the way they're going to probably potentially be able to use the weapons, some of the abilities that we're going to see, the open world format of it, they won that. Day one. And we haven't even seen real gameplay yet. So this is me obviously talking about potential, but I know what that studio can do. So that's why I'm confident when we do see gameplay, it's going to be fantastic.
That's interesting that you say this is going to be their coming out party, because I do think that Deathloop later this year is really going to be the
And you could
first
be
one,
right.
the first one that people really pay attention to.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm on the same page as you, where it's like, yeah, like Arcane as a whole has been so underrated the last generation, and it like bums me out, like seeing that tweet from Tim where it's like in a few years Arcane is going to be talked about with Xbox the same way we talk about Insomniac with PlayStation. It's like, dude, people should have been talking about Arcane the same way that they talk about Insomniac, and even above that for years. Dishonored 2, I would still say, is one of the games of the last generation with PS4 and Xbox One, and I hope they finally get their due diligence and the love and respect that they deserve from the player base. And yeah, I hope Deathloop does that, because because we actually know what Deathloop gameplay wise is going to look like. I hope people like play that and think like, oh man, maybe I should check out Dishonored finally and stuff like that. And I think that's going to be the first moment that on a larger scale people are going to be able to recognize like what Arcane does with gameplay and level design and how ingenious they are. And so, like, I do think like Redfall will take it like even the further step, like almost like how we talk about like, oh man, Insomniac going from Spider-Man to Miles Morales to Ratchet and Clank. We'll talk in a similar way of like seeing Arcane go from Deathloop to Redfall, and then the game after whatever Redfall is in their future. Like I hope we get to that level, because Arcane fucking deserves it. They're so good at what they do, and again. Like I was pimping out Psychonauts earlier. Like if you have Game Pass, if you have like an Xbox platform, or you have Game Pass, check out Dishonored. Check out Dishonored 2. Like if Dishonored 1 isn't really your thing, skip ahead and go to Dishonored 2, because it is less punishing, I would say, than the first Dishonored in some aspects, and it's so fun. And don't feel discouraged to play any way that you actually want. Is what I'll say. So anyway, Arcane's fucking rad. Play their games.
Yeah, completely agree. And I'll actually rephrase what I said, because you're spot on. It's going to be the culmination of, I think people are with Deathloop are going to go, oh man, this game is freaking great. Who makes this? Arcane. And then you're going to follow up with Redfall, next summer, and you're going to go, man, this studio is great. I can't wait to see the next thing that they make, because this is a great studio. So let's completely agree with you. I really think, they do some fun things over there, and yeah, it's exciting, man. So really looking forward to it.
Two incredibly talented teams, Arcane Leon and Austin, working hard on some really banger games. And Pete actually talked about it early in our interview, right? He thinks that Prey was criminally underrated. He beat the drum for it. And it's one of those, right, of like, before Game Pass, people really made a choice on these certain games. And if they identified with them, you see the increase in player base now of people trying these games. And you best believe if you see these two games and you're excited about them, you should go back and try that, because this team is all about system-based gameplay, where they give you the tools and they say, do whatever you want, right? Go break the game. We're going to build the game so you can do anything. And you're going to see that in Deathloop. You definitely felt it in Dishonored if you haven't. And I can't wait to see what they do with Redfall, with 4 players running around and using those different system-based tactics. Is going to be wild to see what you can create and what you can do. So a perfect showstopper right there. And that was 90 minutes, Parris. That was tight, concise, games. And you and I talked about it before this, of like, we had fun. We really enjoyed it. And I want to switch gears, because we only have so much time left, and talk about you now, Parris, because we said this show was about you and games. And you had the incredible opportunity to go out and represent not only yourself, but your loved ones, your friends, and everyone around you in this industry, and get the spotlight turned towards you to host Xbox Games Extended Showcase. And Parris, this is one you and I have talked about, right? Stepping out of that comfort zone, trying new things, stepping up when you're called upon, and knowing you can go do it. So I want to talk about your experience. I want to hear those inside baseball stories, but I want to start from the beginning, really. So, when we rewind, Parris, how did this all come to happen? When did you find out? How did you feel when you got the call? What were the conversations with you and the family?
First of all, I was in shock, number one, when Microsoft reached out, when Xbox reached out for the opportunity. I knew this was something I had to do. And the irony is, because if anyone was paying attention to my timeline, they knew I was in Seattle around the Memorial Day weekend. I was coming off of my real job. I'd just been preparing for this big audit that I had. The audit ended the day before I had to get on the plane to go up to Seattle. So timing wise, it worked perfectly. Obviously, my family, they knew this was a great opportunity. Even though I'd be away from home and away from them, they understood, the magnitude of this, and absolutely I should go do it. So, shout out to my wife. She's always been so very supportive to all of that. So yeah, I was in Seattle for about a week. Actually shot this over a 3-day period. And I got to be involved in the actual script writing process. So the words that were coming out of my mouth, either I approved, like, yep, this is something I would say, or nope, I wouldn't say that. Let's rewrite it and rephrase it this way, kind of thing. The entire production staff was just first class all the way. They made me feel very comfortable, made me feel very welcome. Got to interact with a lot of different people from Xbox during the week, as I'm sure some people may have seen photos that are out there on the internet. But it was a great experience. It was a great learning experience. And it taught me this. I'd never done this before. I didn't know what to expect at first. But I realized about halfway through, because I was never like truly nervous, I guess I should say. But, I just didn't know what to expect. But I realized about halfway through that, wow, I can actually do this. I was like, I like this. I'm having fun doing this. I was understanding how to, from one teleprompter and make the turn over to the other one and look at camera 3 for this, but then look over at camera 1 for that. I was learning all these different things during that process. And it was fun. It was, and like all the feedback that I've gotten just here in the last day or so since it aired, I mean, it's been about 99% positive, right? And just people being very encouraging and just telling me, even during the production process, a lot of people are like, "Are you sure this is your first time?" Telling me, I'm like, "Yeah, I've never done this before. I don't know. I'm just out here, trying to make sure I don't make a fool of myself, I guess, right?" And but watching it with my family yesterday was pretty special. And I'm very hard on myself. So when I first walked out, I'll fully admit I hated it. I was like, no, but I'm just in my head and because I hadn't seen it before. And my wife was like, "What are you talking about? This is great." And people were texting and messaging and saying how much they liked it and everything. And then I kind of got out of my own head and just started watching it. I'll fully admit, when the Khalif segment came up, which, by the way, that came about because Design Labs, they had to have me design this controller early. So as I'm doing it, I could put an inscription on it, and I was like, I'm gonna just put "Ca can't cook." Didn't think nothing of it. But then when Xbox saw it, they kind of knew about the joke, and they were like, "Oh man, you got to mix that in there somehow." So I talked to Naveen, who heads up Design Labs, made sure he was okay with it. It wasn't scripted, like I'd already written out what I was going to say. When you watch that is me off the top of my head saying that, right? And I didn't know how it was going to turn out. So watching it real time, I'm just dying laughing. But that was the moment that kind of settled me down and get out of my own head and go, have fun with this. This is fun. Yes. Enjoy this moment that you're doing, right? But overall, great experience. And I will fully admit, I would love to do something like this again. Just being upfront. It's just one of those things where I was on the stage and I felt like I belonged. Like I felt like I've been doing all this podcast and stuff and streaming and everything else for so long that it was almost like I was preparing myself for that moment the entire time, and I didn't even realize it because I was very comfortable doing it, and it felt like second nature. And of course, you make mistakes. Like I said, I couldn't pronounce that one damn word to save my life, and you might stumble on this or that. But other than that, I mean, it just felt good to be up there, and I guess from what people tell me, I guess I had a good stage presence, so that's good to hear too.
Heck yeah, Parris. I had so many more questions, but in all honesty, you hit everything I wanted to know about. And you said it so well. And I'm so glad that you had an awesome experience. We all loved freaking watching it. And it's awesome. It's so awesome, Parris. So I'm at a loss for words because I'm so happy right now. I do want to touch on one thing really quick and ask you, what was it like talking with the devs, right? This is one of those where you get to interact with them. They're coming out and showing their big games. What were they like? Were they nervous? Were they scared? Were they excited? What were they like when they got to come in?
Honestly, all the above, depending on who you were talking to. Like as an example, when I was did the sit down for the Anacrusis with Chet and I had already been talking over Twitter all the time anyways, so we had a little bit of familiarity with them. So, and you could kind of see that in the interview. It was just very, very calm and good to go. The Age of Empires interview I did actually with Adam and Emma was great because I kind of got to know them over a couple-day period because we did a Zoom call, kind of reviewed the script, like, hey, what are the talking points that you want to hit? I'll make sure I get to those. And then we had a kind of a little bit of downtime before I went on stage with them. So I kind of got to talk to them off to the side. Adam is actually a huge Destiny player, so we had a lot in common there and got to know Emma. So I felt that also translated very well during the interview too. But it was great talking to everyone and kind of just getting some insight from them. Like I told you, I was talking to the Obsidian guys as well and just talking about Grounded. And I was curious. I'm asking questions about certain things. That's how I knew the 18 number that is actually actively working on the game, which again blows my mind. But yeah, it's just again, we're all people. And that's just one lessons learned I took a long time ago. We're all just people. And I mean, going on that stage with the whole production crew and the cameras and everything, I'm sure that has to be intimidating for anyone. So just depending on how much experience you have with it, you know, the varying degrees of being nervous, anxious, things like that. I mean, like I said, for myself, overall, I didn't feel nervous, but trust me, that very first time, like when you see me walk and then I'm walking towards the camera and doing the intro, that was my first time ever doing any of that. So we had to do a few takes because, you know, you got to get used to it. You got to get a feel for it. But I mean, overall, I mean, like I said, really good experience.
What an awesome one. And so cool to be a part of it and root you on, cheer you on, and see everybody around the world just celebrate you and also celebrate Xbox and Bethesda, because not only did they get to spotlight you, but they got to spotlight the devs. They got to spotlight awesome up and coming members of their team. And they got to celebrate games and celebrate us as gamers and show us what the future is all about. So what a great week. It's been a long week. It's been after E3. Yeah. Everybody's tired. I bet you, the listeners and the viewers out there, you're probably tired. So we're going to wrap this episode up right now with just some quick heads up for all of you, what you need to know about. Of course, you got some free play days coming your way. Squad up and breach your enemy's location. Survive the muddy trenches of World War I and hit bombs on the golf course. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, Verdun, and PGA Tour 2K21 are now available for Xbox Live Gold and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members for free-to-play weekends all weekend long. And guess what? Sea of Thieves: A Pirate's Life is dropping June 22nd. Go play it this Tuesday. Play it all week. Let's talk about it next week because Greg Miller wants to play it, and I want to talk about it with you. So let's see if this Sea of Thieves update can capture all of us and have us sailing the seven seas. Parris, what a fun episode. From hanging out with Aaron Greenberg and Pete Hines to getting to talk Xbox and E3 with you and Barrett. I absolutely loved it. So thanks for joining me for another week. I know you and I are both tired. It's time to get the heck out of here.
Well, let me say this before we get out of here. I got to throw it back to you, Barrett, Greg, just everyone at Kind of Funny over this whole E3 week, just everything that's been happening. Because obviously I kind of sidelined myself for some of the Xbox stuff, you know, just so there wasn't a conflict or anything. But I mean, you guys freaking killed it. Just overall this week, all the content that is up right now, all the streams, you had to sit through Koch Media, just everything that happened over this whole E3 weekend has just been amazing, man. So please take some kudos for yourself because you guys freaking killed it, man. And I am just, as I said privately, I'll say it here on the show, I am just overwhelmingly humbled and just honored to be a part of this family, part of the Kind of Funny family. You guys have just, again, you're just all just great people, period, point blank. If there's anything anyone could take away from anything I say on here, know that everyone that's a part of Kind of Funny, it's a family. It truly is. And I love you all. And thank you for letting me be a part of it.
Thanks, Parris. It was an incredible experience to experience and be a part of Kind of Funny for my first ever E3 in the industry. And it was fun. It was awesome. And there's something I will never forget, an experience of a lifetime, as I love to call it. And so with all the fun, with all the smiles, we're getting the heck out of here. Enjoy your weekend. We'll catch you next week, and we'll have some fun. So play a bunch of games and enjoy yourself. See you, gamers.